everybody. Welcome to Mommy is Thriving. I'm your host, Sami Galbo. Today we have my friend Amy Nesbitt on with me. Welcome, Amy. Yay!
Thank you
I'm
so
so
much. It's good to be
excited.
here.
Amy and I have been talking off and on for weeks and weeks and weeks, and finally we sit down and finally get to record. So excited for that. I swear, there was like 2 weeks time where Amy and I just spoke candidly for about 2 hours a week, just because we were like, yeah, and this, and we just had a lot of synergy. So we made it work. Hopefully, I wasn't like your annoying friend from Florida. She's
Mama
like,
life.
my Floridian's calling me again. Um,
My in-laws are in
exactly. You
Florida, so
understand us.
we had a connection.
Same. It's the same. All right. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on with me today. I'm so excited. Like I said, we've had a lot of conversations before. So I'd love to start by grounding us like in your story. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey as a mom, as a coach, as a woman navigating all of our seasons of life and seasons of change? I think that would help our audience.
I'm going to try to be as short as possible, but by day, I am a full-time corporate working mom. Did the big tech life living in Silicon Valley for 18 years. I was at Apple doing finance stuff, so give me a spreadsheet and I can manage all that, right? But during COVID was when this whole other side of me, I felt like unlocked, because I needed more stuff to do apparently than work from home full time and help the kids school from home full time and all the things. I started a YouTube channel just to capture our joys instead of focusing on the crappy things that were happening during that time, and figured, even if it's just the grandparents that watched because we didn't get to spend as much time with them as we would like to or how we would like to, that's okay. And that just kind of morphed into other things over the course of time. And now my main channel is called This Japanese American Life because I am Japanese American. My parents are from Japan. My kids are multicultural. So it's kind of a way to pass that side of their heritage down to them, as well as I kept getting conversations or questions of like, Amy, how do I make that like really delicious Japanese dish your mom or you make? Or if I'm going to Japan, like what do I do? Where should I go? All the questions. So I went, you know what? I'm just going to start talking about this stuff. And people really liked it. And it incorporates my mom life. And as I did that, so many people at work and with other moms conversations were, how the heck do you manage all this other stuff on top of being a mom, on top of working full time and all this stuff? Which was a really important conversation for me to have, because that creative outlet for me, because remember, I do like spreadsheets and financy, like corporate stuff, right? This was my outlet, my creative side of things. And I loved it. And I felt like even though there was more things that I was doing, it lit me up and it actually helped me thrive more. And it was just a stepping stone to conversations with people, with my family, to say, I want to spend more time doing this stuff. How can we kind of figure all of this out? And that led to more things. Like, I love books, so I have a book YouTube as well. And all of that came back to Whole Wellness Mamas. I think hopefully you feel the heart or hear the heart behind it of, I want moms to thrive. And so often we get lost, especially as working moms, in that serving all the other people, whether it's our families or our work or whatever, but we deserve to feel whole also. So that is where Whole Wellness Mamas was born. And then Summits, I saw other people doing it and went, you know what? I follow a lot of people. I know a lot of people that I want to share with others and with moms. So that's what happened. And we're in the third year of Whole Wellness Mamas Summit. So that was my as short as possible.
No, I love it. I love it. I think
story.
that something that resonates so much with me is like going from surviving to thriving, right? And that was a conversation. It's funny. I actually had that conversation with my girlfriend this morning at my daughter's preschool, who's also in finance. So that's very funny. I feel like you two would get along so well. So she is total type A like us, like, very on top of everything. And she's like, I haven't figured it out. Like I haven't figured out the how to go from just surviving to thriving. And she's like, I'm really trying to take the time to have self-care and everything else. She's like, and I just can't figure it out. And I'm like, I need to have you on the podcast. And then I need to have all my friends that I've made through the podcast journey on also. So we can all be like, we're here for you, mama. We got you. We got your back. We can do this. We can all be thriving together, right? Like it's such a struggle. It really truly is a struggle that we all have. Like we're all just trying to figure it out, right? But having these like yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Mhm. And you see, I was gonna say, in this social media world, right? You see all the highlights, you see all the, oh, is that what I'm supposed to be like? And you compare, but there's so much more that we don't see. And I think that was my heart of people. Everybody deserves community. Everybody deserves to be seen. Everybody deserves to feel
Exactly,
encouraged and say,
exactly.
you're
No,
not
I love
alone.
that, I love
So
that, and I think
that
that's
is
why
my
you
heart
and I,
behind
like,
it.
we're very kismet in that regard, like, we're very connected because of it's the same, right? Like, we just want everybody, all of our journeys look different, and all of our journeys there's no right way to do life, there really isn't, and, everything that I go through, with losing my mom and, parenting without her and parenting without a mom, like that resonates with some people, you being a Japanese American and trying to
Mhm.
pass down the traditions and that really resonates with people. And it doesn't matter if they're Japanese or not Japanese, it's really just trying to figure out ways to bring
Mhm.
down the transitions, right? The traditions, excuse me, like bring in the traditions to everyday life. And it's so amazing, all of that, because, it's hard because for me, especially, I find it hard because I don't have I have my mom's cookbooks, right? So I have those that kind of feel like it's a piece of my mom that I have in my home and I can go through and try and make things that she made. But there's a part of it that kind of gets lost when it's just a cookbook, right? Like I wish she was there in the kitchen, but every time I do it, I kind of feel like, okay, she's here with me, right? Like her chicken soup. Like for me, that's one that like
Yeah.
that's a very much a mama bear thing to do, so, like, that is one of those moments that totally connects me with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much that can connect us with food.
Yeah. So I'm totally digressing now because, yeah, food is a huge thing, and that's why I wanna write this children's book, and if I say it enough, it's going to
Exactly,
happen.
exactly. Say it to your
But I
it's
think
going out
there
into
is
the
something
universe, that's
magical.
it, it's happening.
Yes, I'm throwing it out there because I am actually working on it. Um, but there is something magical in the memories, in like the smells, the tastes, the all the things, and the intergenerational connections that happen through food and passing down of food. And when you were talking about your mom, and it's there are things that get lost over time, but there's also some magical things that, like, when you make it, the feeling that you get, and all these things to be able to then pass it on to your kids, and it's fantastic. So I love food.
We
Food
love
is a love
food.
language for me. So it is for my children too.
Sorry. I'm like, Melissa moved my words, and then they're just moving, all my words are moving. Press the space bar, it'll stop. Now go back up, please. Sorry. Um, yeah, no, food is my love language.
No, you're good.
And I feel like it's becoming my children's love language too. Like my daughter for sure. Like she is very much like I have a nanny. A nanny always makes my nanny always makes ice pops for my kids. And it's become one of those things that they're like, can I have, and they call it a Ka ice pop because it's Callie and Ka, like that's what they call her. And they all ask for this Ka ice pop. So like even when kids come to my house that don't live in my house, right? Like friends and neighbors or whatever, they all know Ka ice pop. And like it's like
They're asking
that's our thing in our
questions.
house. Like everybody knows. And like
Yeah.
they're fantastic. It's like yogurt. It's like all natural, organic yogurt with organic berries, with some honey and a little bit of elderberry syrup, because the illnesses that have started, we are in week
Immune
2
system.
of school over here down in sunny South Florida, and there were 11 cases in one class of the first grade of flu A. Really? 2 weeks into school, 11 cases.
Already.
Right?
It's still summer
It's and
technically,
for
right?
me, it's like the
So
PTSD from COVID. Anytime there's a sniffle in my house, I'm like, "Oh no, the world is ending. We have a sniffle." And my husband's like, "Sam, we are okay. It is a sniffle. Kids get sniffles. It is fine." I'm like, "Get those ice pops out. We need some elderberry syrup. We need some vitamin C. We need all of the oranges. Let's keep on keeping on. We will not have you."
keep on keeping on. That's all we
I
can
I
do.
can't. I can't. Please. I'm like, quarter 1 of the school year just started. Like, we cannot have an illness yet. My girlfriend's kid was home the entire second week of school this week. I'm like, I can't. I can't. It's just like, oh, yes. So food. Yes. Right? I know. You and I,
Oh,
this is the problem when Amy and I talk, as now all of our listeners understand, that we go on 85 tangents and we're not going to actually stick to our conversation, but I think that's what makes us entertaining. I'm pretty sure people would just watch us for hours, Amy. I'm like, like you and I can just go off and off.
y-
It
this
is.
is real life, you know? It should be like you're
Exactly,
sitting
exactly. You're
in a
at our
conversation with us.
kitchen
Okay.
counter with us. We're having our coffee. We're having a little coffee talk. We make it work. It's so funny though, because it's like if we were at my kitchen counter, there would be 8,000 things that would distract me in the middle of our conversation. So like our conversation would digress because of the ADHD nature of my life and my home, and then I would be like, "Oh, I need to go through this pile of mail. Okay. Oh my God, what is this?" And then we'd go into that conversation. So like, yeah, I think our listeners are like, okay, where have they
The
gone?
kitchen
Don't worry
counter.
about it. It's fine. We're at our kitchen counters.
Yeah, the kitchen counter was the hot spot that I talked about in a summit interview with someone else because they're like a decluttering coach, right? So when they ask me, "Where's your hot spot?" I'm like, "Oh, the kitchen
It's the
counter."
mail
Mhm.
pile. It's the
It's where
mail pile.
everything
Like, why is it
lands.
that my husband and I can't figure out a way to take the mail pile, go through the mail as soon as the mail gets there, and throw out whatever we don't need, and then figure out what we do need, go through it, and then throw it out? Like, what? Why does it sit there? Why? I don't, because I might need that credit card application that's for the 0% that I don't need, because nobody needs any more credit card. Really, like, yeah.
Okay, those I'm really good at tossing. It's the stuff that I punt down the line. Where I'm like, "Oh, I'll
Mhm,
deal with that
mhm.
later, but I'm gonna put it here so I
Right, exactly.
remember."
That's what I do too, right? Like, so I remember, but that's where our OneThrive boards need to come in, Amy. We need to just write it down on the OneThrive board, so then we can cross it off the OneThrive board to be like, "I did that." I did that with my kids, like, I had to do something with, like, their camp forms or something, and I wrote everything I needed to do on the board before I went to Europe, and then when I came back, I did all of it and, like, checked it all off, and I was like, wow, I did that. It was like the gymnastics registration, the camp forms, the doctor thing, like all the that you actually have to fill out because not that part of life has not become digital yet. We'll get there, right? We'll get there. All right,
There's something about
right?
checking
It's
off
well,
things
and that's
that
and that's the joy of the OneThrive units, right? Like you're actually having a tangible list that lives on your wall that you can really just put a line through. Am I right? It's just cathartic.
and you put the mail into the mail thing,
Yep.
mail holder, I don't know, file folder,
Exactly, then it can
and
come
get
off the
it out of
kitchen
the way.
counter. Look at that, Amy. I just solved both of our lives at the same time. That was
Mhm,
that
mhm.
was amazing. All right, so talk to me a little bit. I'm gonna rewind and like get back to our combo for one sec, because okay, you talked a lot about how that's like your passion and that you really like to help families and your work with women and moms and whole wellness. where did that passion like really ignite from? Like, has it just always been there and you've just been in finance? So like you couldn't have the creative side so much, or was there like a defining moment for you? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, I don't think there's a defining moment. I have no idea where it came from, but I think it has been ingrained in me from a young age. And I I think because of how I grew up, multi-generational encounters have been really, really important. So my parents are from Japan,
Mm,
and we used to go back every year over the summers, going back to where, I don't know, I can't even think of when I started, right? But the elders are a very important thing, deep respect, right? And I remember, I'm going back to the cooking, but I remember being with my aunts and my grandma, like cooking and doing all these things. And as we're talking about shaping the young and the old and doing all the things together, right? I remember some people are going to be like, "What? You went to school over the summer in a different country?" But there were a few summers that I went to school in Japan. It was like a month because I was there. Anyway, their timeline is different than our school timelines. But I used to walk. This was elementary school. I used to walk by well, not by myself, with like a few friends my age, right? And we'd go like a pretty good distance to school. There were no adults, but that was like a normal thing. Or, I saw all these different things that other countries do, and I love traveling. So I've seen, my fair share in my career as well as just personal. Like I studied abroad in college. And so I think all these experiences have shaped me in wanting to live a life in which going back to our thriving, right? In which we're thriving and we're not just stuck in this work, work, work mentality, which I think in the US, that is a very common thing. And um, I think I've reflected on this a lot of how can we bring the good that we see in other places and take the good that we have here and blend those together. And I think a big part of doing that is also sharing what we've learned with other people. And as I work with people, not just in, like my whole wellness mamas realm, but I've worked with interns, I've mentored, first generation college students at my old work, and rotational people, and all that kind of stuff. And with kids, I love volunteering at my kids' schools. I think it all just kind of comes back to like, how do we make society better, right? I know that's like a very lofty goal or hope, but I think there is a part for all of us to play, and I think that takes multi generations interacting with all the different generations, because people that have lived way longer than us have things to teach us. People that have not also have things to teach us, and I'm amazed every time I have these multi generational connections and feel fed in my soul through those. So I don't know if that answered your question. I kind of went on a
questions though,
tangent
Amy. Like
again.
they're enlightening. They really are because it's so true to who you are. You were, that burnout and that we all kind of go through, right? There's so many women out there, I'm sure, listening or not listening, that might be in that space where, their life feels full, but they're not fully present, right? They're having the issue of the mommy burnout, they're kind of running through life on autopilot, and not feeling truly present. And I think that that's so hard for so many women, moms, society expects so much from all of us that we can all just do all of the things and be all of the places, and you, it, it's not feasible, right? Like you can't balance all the balls in the air, you kind of have to juggle sometimes. And I say sometimes there are days where I'm like, either I can choose to have my hair clean, my house clean, or my children clean. Usually it's the children, right? But have you personally ever felt that mommy burnout yourself, and like what helped you kind of shift out of that? I mean, I think personally it's hard to recognize when you're going through it yourself. And I think it's kind of one of those things that we look at after and you're like, oh yeah, no, I was totally very burnt out then. And here's what I kind of did to help myself. But talk to me a little bit about you in that situation. Like, have you ever been there? How do you get yourself out of it and all of that?
Have I ever been there? I'm like, who hasn't felt overwhelmed, right? Especially as busy moms. Yeah, this is just a conversation that we keep having over and over. But kidding aside, as far as multitasking, just yesterday I was taking my kid to Little League and thought I knew the directions. I even had the GPS, but I was thinking about work and totally went a different direction because I thought I knew where I was going and then went, oh, wait, I'm going to the wrong place, right? I was on autopilot,
Little autopilot
but to the
moment.
wrong place. And I think we as humans have a tendency to get overwhelmed or go on autopilot or avoid the things that are hard, right? But I have found, and I made some big life decisions lately. We made a big move, right, from Silicon Valley to San Diego. And these are all things that my husband and I had been thinking for a while of, do we really want to live in Silicon Valley? I mean, the last job I was in that role and in that group for 12 years. I never thought I'd be in the same group or role for 12 years. And there were struggles, where every handful of years I went, okay, is this where I'm still supposed to be? Or am I avoiding trying something new? Am I avoiding, stretching myself in some way? Am I like, those are the questions I had to ask myself. Or is this really where I still feel like I am supposed to be in this point in time? And there are a number of things that kept me there. But I didn't want to live in a way where I was scared of not being comfortable, of doing something. I didn't want to live in fear, right? I guess is the end. So all that to say, we made the big move, even though we left the job, but we felt like the move was in alignment with our values for our family of wanting to spend this time while the kids want to spend time with us, to be able to have the luxuries that we wanted to if we wanted to make these big life changes. And so we went into the unknown. Things have worked out so far. We ended up doing two different jobs, that this is going to be a longer story. So I'm going to leave it as we went back into the corporate life again, both of us. But it was just all these things where we had to evaluate for ourselves.
No, I was just saying, did you think that when you moved to, San Diego that you weren't going to be, in corporate America? Like, did you think that by that move you weren't. Okay, okay.
I thought about it. Yeah. I So the reason we moved, a lot of it was, well, we have more opportunity if one of us didn't want to work or if we wanted to pursue different things. And there's a number of things that aligned with saying yes, go try it out. And my husband is the practical engineer mind, that said nothing is permanent, right? So if we want to come back, we can. But if we think this is where we're, called to take the jump, then let's do it. And things didn't work out where I could work remote. And so I went, well, you know what? Maybe this is the universe telling me to go do my creative thing full time, or who knows? But then other doors opened up. And so we said, okay, let's go with what feels right, what feels aligned with what our values are for our family, and we can always change, right? I think that's the value or the beauty of life, is we can always change things. We have the power to do that. We shouldn't feel like, okay, this decision is going to hold me forever. Some are more permanent than others, but we always have the power to change, and things change, circumstances change, and we're allowed to change our minds on things.
I love
So
that. I love that. Yeah,
yeah.
sometimes when one door closes, another door opens, and the universe has interesting ways that it is a major puppeteer in our lives, and sometimes you just got to listen to the universe, right? Like, I don't know. I'm like,
Oh, I was just gonna say, when I look back on all the different things that have happened, I just said yes to things. I was open to things. Like, I never thought I would do finance. And yet, when Apple had this program with finance, it was like the first year they were doing this finance program. And I just said, okay, let's go see, because it's Apple. And then, I was there for 18 years. And then The YouTube thing, I was like, oh, I don't know that I want to do like YouTube, but then, oh, okay, let's just try it. And then it became this thing. And all these things, I never thought I would be doing summits. I never thought I would have multiple YouTube channels. I never thought I'd have a podcast, but here we are. And the people that I've been able to talk to and connect with through it, and moms that I've been able to impact because of it, and people that have spoken into my life because of it, just be open to all the different opportunities and doors
I
that
love that.
open.
I love that so much. And I think that, the world is ever changing and like everything changes all the time, right? So, I there was a point in my life where I was like an influencer. Like, why should I look into that? Like, why do I care what other people are doing on the internet and all this stuff? And now I'm like, oh, I get it. Like it was all those things that I was just like, why? Like, why do people share so much online? And I was like, oh, it wasn't until that like I needed to hear some of the things that people were saying on the internet before I was like, oh, okay, right? Like I think that social media had such a big impact in my like mental shift when after my mom passed away and like all the grief that I was dealing with and like still being a mom and all these cookie cutter people on the internet where like their lives looked perfect and it wasn't until one of them was like, no, my life isn't perfect and here's all the you know stuff I'm dealing with. Um, and,
Mhm.
and motherhood changes everything and how
Yeah.
we live and how we deal with all of our emotions and our states. And, I always say like I'm a mom first and an employee second, like COO of my life is first and foremost and then my work COO-ness is second, right? Uh, yeah. Talk to me a
Mhm.
little bit about, so you worked at Apple for 18 years and when you became a mom while working at Apple?
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. So
Mhm.
talk to me a
Yeah.
little bit about how that changed the
Yeah.
way that you worked, led, professionally and at home while working. Like talk to me about like that shift for you and what that kind of looked like.
We had so many conversations, us moms in the office, and we were going, we get it done, because we know that we want to get out of there around a certain time. Like if we have pickups or something, then you have a time that you want to get out of the office, right? And so I think there was less, I don't want to say playing around, right? But you know what you need to get done and you get it done. And we were like, you know what? If you need something to be done, you call that mom in the office and we will get it done. We will corral people, make it happen. I feel like we just have a lot more empathy for other people. You're kind to the people that could be having a rough freaking day. You just never know what people are going through, right? And not to say that that is just moms, but I think since becoming a mother and since having my meltdown moments, like, oh my gosh, my kids are just driving me crazy, and that pours into other parts of my life. I have a lot more empathy for people, and I have a lot more patience for people to say, okay, even though they snapped at me, maybe it wasn't me. Maybe there are other things going on for them. And professionally, I think you said mother first, work second, and I think there are a lot of things that we have to figure out professionally for ourselves of where our lines are. What are the things that we are willing to do? Because some people started at the same time as I did and they moved up fast, right? But they also put in, I don't know how much time, been working around the clock, whatever. I don't know what their relationships with family looks like. But for me, I knew that my family time was not going to be sacrificed at the price, right? I never thought I was going to be like CFO, all that kind of stuff. That was just not my aspiration. But obviously, everybody wants to be recognized. Everybody wants to, all those things. Of course, I wanted that. But for me, priority has always been balance in my life as much as possible. Balance, right? Because sometimes it's going to be more, sometimes it's going to be less. The phase, the time, it's all going to be different. But I knew what I wanted for myself professionally and for my family life. And I think motherhood just has a way of really shining lights on the things that you want to spend time on. And when it gets skewed and you're like, oh my gosh, I missed that big thing for my kid, it hits you, right? And you go, okay, something's got to change. And there's ways that, as we're talking about the universe and signs and doors and whatnot, there are ways to gently tell you that things are going well or things are going wrong. And there are doors in your face and fall on your, face moments that really tell you, okay, what is your priority? What do you want?
Priority is such a big one, right? Like I feel like there are different priorities through every season of our lives, right? There's different priorities day to day, there's different priorities hour to hour, and it's really just that balancing, right? And making sure that you are balanced and you give yourself grace in the process too, because you aren't always
Mhm.
balanced, and it happens, and it's okay, right? I was at soccer practice with my son last night, and it's like I want to watch, but then I have my 4-year-old there also, and I called in backup. I called in my cousin, and I was like, what's the probability you can come meet me at a park right now and stay with my daughter for an hour so I can actually watch my son? And she was like, no problem, I'll be right there. And it was amazing to be like, okay, I outsourced a little bit, and it was just necessary in the moment because I wasn't able to balance. Like, I can't be in two places at once. My daughter wanted to go play in the playground, and my son was in front of me playing soccer. And it's like, and I know that's like such a microism, but it's, you get the mom guilt because you're like, I should be the one playing with my daughter in the park, but I can't do both things. I can't be in both places, and every once in a while my son looks up from the
Mhm.
soccer field just to make sure that like I'm watching. And it's hard, man. Being a mom's not easy. The balancing, the balancing.
Hey, Mama. Thanks for listening. That wraps up part 1 of our episode with the incredible Amy Nesbitt. This is Mommy is Thriving, and I'm your host, Sami Galbo. Stay tuned because in part 2, we've got more inspiring conversations and an amazing giveaway just for our fans. If you've missed an episode, now's the perfect time to catch up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you love to listen. Thank you for being here and for supporting the Mommy is Thriving community. I can't wait to share what's next. See you soon, Mama.